Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm showing you my 2023 bullet journal setup. It's a pretty fun theme for me, so I hope you enjoy. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. This is a new journal from Notebook Therapy that I've been waiting for. Ah, it's beautiful. Now, you might be wondering why I'm doing a journal setup so late in the year. And really, it's because this journal, along with some other supplies I got, kept getting delayed in shipping. But it's here now and I can finally dive in. As soon as I saw this moss green and gold, I knew it was the one for me. And that's why I chose it as my journal for 2023. That actually rhymed. I wanted to go for more of a vintage scrapbook theme with neutral florals and some greenery. This theme is what I feel best represents me, and it'll be fun to see what my style looks like at the end of the year. So I wanted to start with something that I love now. Starting with this kind of medium to darkish type of stained paper, I'm going to put them in the corners just so that I can round off this spread. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of a lighter color so I can create kind of an effect of gradient. So I'm using this tea-stained paper and I want to grip it in the right areas just to make sure that it goes with the other sides. And with these ripped edges, it's actually nice because it's definitely giving me that vintage vibe that I was going for. Now I'm just adding some extra scraps that I've had laying around, add some color, and with the script, it just gives it a little bit more oomph that I'm looking for. It never hurts to add a couple of strips of washi tape here and there, especially when I'm trying to pull in more of that reddish brown color. And I'll of course want to add my name, which is Nell, if you didn't know. Great, this first spread is done. Now we can move on to the second spread. So on this side, I'm going to add my quote. And then on this side, I'm going to have the actual year and some illustrative elements. So we're going to go in with this washi tape that has this script on it. It's light and it's also pulling in a lot of that text script that I used on the first spread. Adding back that tea-stained paper just on the edges. They're really nice because it's almost like they're its own frame for each spread. Though I won't be doing this throughout my entire setup. I just wanted these two pages to really flow together. All right, let's go in with this quote. I chose this quote because I thought it was something that really spoke to me. And the font itself is something called New York. I found it on thefont.com and basically just wrote out my quote and tried to mimic that font as best as I can. Yeah, I find that my weakest points are definitely with fonts and typography. So I wanted to challenge myself because I'm definitely more of an illustrator and designer. So this was actually kind of fun for me. All right, and we're done. And now to work on the second page, which is basically just gonna have the year on it. So I cut out this arch and I'm using a white gel pen to write out the year on top. I made this little stencil for myself in this kind of vintage font for the numbers, and I'm gonna place it here and use that as my guide. I have to make sure it's all lined up correctly, and now I can start tracing it in. It wasn't actually difficult to make the stencil, it was more difficult to cut it out. So you can see it's a little janky, but it works. Now I get the opportunity to align everything. And I can already tell looking at this that the 2 up top isn't exactly how I would have liked it to be. But once I got more comfortable, the second 2 came out a little bit nicer. I always try to make the outline as crisp as possible, so it makes it easier for me when I'm filling everything in after the fact. And now I'm using that same white gel pen to add some shines over the numbers. I think it makes it a little bit more dimensional instead of just flat black. And now for my favorite part, the drawing. I'm a lover of plants. I'm definitely a plant lady. It's all over my room and my desk. So I wanted to add those elements into this setup. And I didn't want them to be super detailed, just really light line drawings in black and white. Drawing is so therapeutic for me. These delicate lines are great. And for something extra, I decided that it would be really cool to kind of flip the contrast and add the same leaf doodles but in white while on this arch. Now, I will admit, I think I went a tiny bit overboard than the vision I had for this arch with these leaf doodles, but it's fine. It came out maybe a little bit too crowded, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Maybe I'm just being too hard on myself. I do like the end result though. And I'm not sure if you've seen my other previous video, but I did an unboxing for Notebook Therapy's Junk Journaling Washi Tape set, which I'm using right here. I'll post a link for it up at the top, but I'm using that to add little details to this page. I think it's really pulling it all together, and we'll move on. So for these next 2 pages, I really want to add this little pocket, and it's going to hold my grid ruler that I use to do all of my measurements and stuff for my pages and my spreads. And I want to pull, again, a little bit more of that vintage scrapbook feel. I found another piece of paper with that same script on it, so everything can align really nicely. Testing out just to make sure that it's the way I want it to look. You can tell I love that tea stained paper. It just adds that warm yellowy color that I want. Very vintage, right? Again, here I am using these washi tapes again. Just make a nice cute design on the actual cover of this pocket. I can already tell it's not centered, but oh well, we're here. And I'll have to name this page, of course. And here is the grid ruler that I was telling you about previously. Has all of my spacing, and it will fit perfectly into this pocket. The next page is my key. I grabbed my beige Tombow pen so that I can pull in those same colors from the previous pages onto this one. Please do not make fun of my handwriting. I'm literally working on it. It will be better over time, I promise you guys. I didn't want to use washi tape as the actual tape here because I didn't know how well it would take the ink. And I want to pull in those same leaf doodles on this page. I wanted to do something different here by coloring in the leaves versus just doing line art. So I used that same beige Tombow pen to do the colors, and then I'm adding in the details after the fact. This helps with no smudging or anything I have to worry about while I'm doing these doodles. And here we are at the final spread, my future log. So I'm using that same New York font that I used for the quote here as the title. It's actually a really nice, elegant serif font. I always want to say sans serif, but it's just serif. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. I have to keep telling myself this. So I pre-printed out all of the calendars for the year rather than having to write them down. I've done that before and it was a pain. So I learned my lesson, and then I'm using my stamps to create the titles for each month. It was so much easier. I didn't have to sit and try to plan out how I was going to write everything. And again, I don't really trust my writing skills at this point. So this is just the easier route for me. All right, this is the fun part. I'm going to create a Dutch door on this side. It's kind of my first time doing it. I have done ones in the past as a mock-up, but this is the first time I'm officially doing it, so wish me luck. Around the corners, and I'm adding those same neutral florals everywhere. so everything flows together. I'm trying to hide it, but you could probably see that big giant smudge on the other page, and that's because I had my hand in the ink, didn't realize it and smudged it, but it's okay because it'll get covered at that point. And I'm adding some lines here for any extra details I need to add for the month for my planning. And there's the big giant smudge, but we're gonna cover it. Oh, problem solving. This is the interesting thing about journaling, is that everything is not going to turn out exactly how you want it. You're going to have mistakes, you're going to have things mess up, you're going to ruin things. And so it's kind of fun to problem solve in these different types of scenarios. And that's what I'm doing here. I want to have a notes section. And so I added my scrapbooking papers to this to match all the others, and I'm adding this fake washi tape, and then I'm putting my print to title on it. And of course, here come my leaf doodles. And these are more hand, or I guess they're more freehand. I did not have any sketches underneath because it was added literally last minute, which also happens. Nothing like ripped washi tape to add that vintage flair. And last but not least, I thought that the title looked really flat and boring, so I'm going over with my beige Tombow marker and adding just a nice little shadow to it so it pops. And here it is. My future log setup is complete and I love it so much. Beautiful. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me in this video of my 2023 journal setup. It was a lot of fun and I hope you guys enjoyed the ride with me. As always, please like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.